Hello, adventurers. Another Friday, another RPG horror story. I'm Jason Portizo. Today at the table, I've got Mr. Jim Crocker.
Hey.
And Ms. Josey Diaz.
Hello.
And today it's my turn to tell a story. And I've got a story that kind of made me a little mad.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're meant to do.
Do tell.
Y'all ready for this? All right. This from Reddit RPG Horror Stories is posted by Terrace Kagi or Terrace Kaji. We'll leave the link to the story so you can read along in the show notes. The story is DM won't let me learn spells as a wizard.
What?
So, yeah, DM won't let me learn spells as a wizard. And
I just had a stroke.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a premise rejection, I think is the phrase that I'm looking for there. But do continue, please.
Yes.
I don't know if I want you to.
Well, I'm gonna, or else this will be bad radio. So not too long ago, I'm playing an Evoker Wizard, party's primary offensive caster, while our cleric healed and buffed and our various frontline combatants do their things. Around level 7, I noticed that despite us having a plethora of magical items, enemy wizard spellbooks are always destroyed in battle, and we almost never find scrolls, either as loot or in magic item shops. I asked the DM about this in private, and he tells me that spellbooks are fragile. Okay, sounds like an excuse, but whatever. After 2 years, I'm D&D deprived, and I like the other players. Okay, 2 years in between games. I thought those 2 years of not learning spells, we're going to have a different issue here.
Yeah, I was about to be like, you let that go on too long.
After 2 years, I'm D&D deprived, and I like the other players. The next time we're up against a wizard, we're hunting. I explain in character that if we can claim his spellbooks, there's the potential of making me much stronger, and the others agree. The fight goes okay, with everyone avoiding AoE effects and calling shots to deliberately not hit the enemy's spellbooks. We finally nail the wizard and retrieve his book, as well as the MacGuffin we were there for. That evening, damaged and bedraggled, I open the spellbook to begin copying spells, and the DM calls for a dex save. I fail and learn the evil wizard had a contingency spell on his books that cast Disintegrate on anything trying to copy spells that's not the evil wizard. I take 90-ish points of damage, am disintegrated, and the book vanishes in a flash of light. Please note that this wizard did not cast any spells in the fight, suggesting that he's high enough level for Disintegrate or Contingency, and I'm pretty sure you can't cast Contingency on a spellbook anyway. I'm not proud of losing my shit and calling the DM a complete fucking asshole before quitting the game, and I later learned that apparently I just don't know how to play a wizard properly according to the DM.
Ugh. I'm... Honestly, like, not an overreaction. Totally within your right to call him a fucking asshole, because that's exactly what he is.
But you flip the table and then you disintegrate the DM.
Yeah.
Is what you do.
Like, I don't understand.
Well, let's go to our resident DM. Jim, where did this go wrong?
Well, it went wrong first, starting with the fact that Contingency has a maximum of 5th level spell that you can cast to be triggered by the Contingency, and Disintegrate is a 6th level spell. So let's just start with that, with the, the fact that it's just that he just got it wrong.
That part at least, but this is several steps past where it started to go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, also Contingency is a spell that Contingency very explicitly is a spell that takes one action to cast, and that has a target of self. So you can't use a Contingency spell you can't do Contingency. I mean, basically all of the kind of rules things they got wrong just cover the fact that guy didn't want a wizard in his campaign.
Yeah.
Could have just said that from the get-go.
Exactly.
Be like, hey, I don't really... Like, I've never played a wizard because I feel like my tiny little brain can't handle all the things you need to be able to do as a wizard.
You're going to break my game. If I give you fly, I'll never be able to put an encounter together again. Blah, 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 blah.
Sounds like a you problem.
Teleport, it's going to... Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
But he was like literally not letting a player do his class stuff.
Yes.
Wizards have one thing going for them.
Mm-hmm.
And ain't their robes. It's you gotta be able to learn new spells.
And there is a thing that I wanted to like a thing that I heard that I made a mental note of as he went along, which is the player saying in character to the other characters, if we find this, it's going to make me more powerful. And it actually really isn't going to make him more powerful in the sense of like, I'm going to be able to cast 6th level spells where before I could only cast 5th level spells. It makes him more versatile, gives him more choices. It makes playing that character more interesting and fun. Why would we want that? It doesn't it's not going to break the game. Everything there is play tested. the DM's going to know what those spells are in advance and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's just somebody not wanting their player to have fun.
And they did everything right. Like they in character, not above the table, went out of their way to not damage the books, no AoE effects, calling all their shots, and then just did everything, as insane as the DM was implying that they had to be about it.
Why would you want to punish your players for playing the game correctly?
And to punish them with a disintegrate spell?
Well, they called his bluff. Yeah. Is what happened there. He was like, well, this is why this doesn't happen in the game, rather than just coming out and saying, I don't want you to have more spells, and have a conversation about that at the table level, at the player level.
Yeah.
That's why this stuff never works if you try and, do it, if you kind of couch it in game terms rather than just having the conversation.
Right. Now, meanwhile, they have several, they just said frontline combatants. So there's more than one, I'm assuming, marshals that are taking care of the frontline stuff.
You got a fighter, you got a rogue, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a monk kicking people in the head up there or something.
Yeah, probably
like that.
There's probably a barbarian. It's like every other party, but like gave them a quote plethora of magical items.
Like a ranger running around complaining that he doesn't do enough damage.
That is. Listen, I played Ranger once, and Rangers are about consistency, sir, not about huge damage.
No, I love Rangers, and I'm happy to play them, but that's what people that want Rangers to be, to be rogues.
That one time every 3 months when a fighter does 90 damage in one turn, that's cool. When I'm doing a consistent like 12, 15 every single turn since level 2.
Yeah.
I will defend my Rangers to the death.
No, I completely agree. But people gripe about that. So.
Right. I had a Celestial Corgi and he was awesome.
But I digress.
Yeah. So but the marshals are getting they're getting magical items and they're getting all kinds of stuff to buff them. That's how they progress and that's how they get better on top of their normal class stuff. But the wizard and other spells learned classes don't just get their stuff. They have to go out of their way for it. And for a player that just literally did every single thing right, DMs is going out of his way to break his own game.
I'm a little upset that the other players too weren't like, hey, you're giving us all of this cool stuff. Why are you dicking over the wizard?
Well,
I know it's not their job to do that, but
to be fair, we don't know that the wizard had a table level discussion with them about that.
No, that's true.
It may have come up at that point,
He did say that he took the DM aside off table and then spoke to the other characters in character.
Yeah.
So that's all we know. We don't know that that issue was brought up to the other players.
But yeah, once, and that's another reason why you talk about this stuff at the table, because then it makes the other, this taking the DM aside thing. I get it in one sense, but in the other sense, if you've got an issue at the table, just lay it out in front of everybody at the table. Mm-hmm. And if the DM wants to then, say, let's discuss this afterwards privately, then they can do that. But boy, whenever possible, you should just lay that stuff out so that everybody knows what's going on.
Right. Let me ask you this, Jim, as someone who is involved in game design as you are, what do you think in possible 5.5 if wizards went to spells prepared? Like
clerics or
if they're treated more like clerics than they were.
I mean, so I like the way wizards get treated. The thing that I've never understood about this is that even if you are, having people find spell books and scrolls and all that kind of stuff, as the DM, you have 100% control over what you're giving them, but you never have 100% control over what their spell list is, because every time a player, a character levels up, the player gets to decide what you get a couple of spells that you get to add. The player decides what that is. Mm-hmm. Barring a conversation where you say, please don't take fly. I don't want it in my game. It's not set up, to handle that. We're just going to agree that that's a thing, whatever. Maybe I give you, access to something else or whatever.
If you need to ban a spell from your table, I'm not totally against it. Now, if you're banning something like Detect Magic because it's going to break your table, then fix your table, okay?
But you just do it. But you have total, if you're giving those out, you have total control over what goes in that spell book, over what's on those scrolls. And it sounds like he's not even handing out scrolls of spells he already knows. So that,
OP
It
says
sounds like he's
that-
not handing out scrolls at all.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
Exactly.
OP say that around level 7, I noticed that I'm kind of paraphrasing here, that every spell book is destroyed in battle.
Yeah, no, that's just.
He got to level 7 before he noticed it.
Yeah, I mean, well,
So I want to know when was the last spell he got? That's one huge need to know. How many levels did he go before he realized it's like, hey, wait a second.
Well, and it said it like he said, and it's also one of those things where that the other thing that I couldn't help but notice is that 2-year dry spell I was so grateful to be playing. And I suspect it's not that it wasn't 7th level where he noticed it. He probably noticed it at like 3rd or 4th. But it just got to be so like it only really like built up enough to be a problem by 7th level, where they like felt compelled to actually say something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that
It sounds like
tough.
that was when they were like, okay, enough is enough. I have to know if you're doing this on purpose.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. That it's like, is this a coincidence? Am I just, kind of, is this just me or am I noticing a pattern here?
Well, like I said, hey, wait a minute. Like that's the last sentence of the story that I didn't read was, it's my personal reminder that bad D&D is actually worse than no D&D.
Mm-hmm.
After a 2-year dry spell, that's what he comes back to. Welcome back, you piece of shit. Yeah, let your players be what they want to be. And if you are afraid of what they want to be, ask them politely to be something else, and then tell them that you're not good enough to have a wizard at your table.
Have that discussion.
Yeah, that's it for this week. We'll have a new RPG horror story next week. Jim, Josey, thank you so much.
You bet.
I'm Jason. I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to Curmudgeons and Dragons. Please share this with your favorite adventurers. Leave a review on Apple and follow us on social media. All links can be found at curmudgeonsanddragons.com. Practice safe adventuring, my friends.
This has been a JTP Audio podcast. Thanks for listening.